The Brown County Historical Commission and Brownwood's Lyric Theater, in cooperation with the Brown County Museum of History and the R.B. Rogers House and Events Venue, present Bygone Brown. Episode 9, The Hardin Gang. Relocating the Comanche Indians might have lessened the fears of settlers from further attacks, but the Red River War would not be the final triumph of civilization over savagery. Aimless former soldiers, fortune seekers from old 49ers to bounty hunters to outright bandits and thieves made a living, of a sort, by preying on other men's good fortune, rustling horses, stealing other livestock, holding up banks, and robbing the stage. For instance, from 1870, when it was established, the Chichester Stage Company operated a daily coach leaving Fort Worth at 9 a.m. every morning and arriving in Brownwood the next day at 7 a.m. The four-horse teams pulling the coach changed about every 15 miles, with stops in Bluffdale, Stephenville, Dublin, Haas, Comanche, and Blanket on the daily route to Brown County, carrying passengers and provisions between the towns and the frontier. But for much of its 142-mile journey, the stagecoach ran through open country along undeveloped roads, exposing its valuable cargo to the temptations of robbers. Between September and October of 1875 alone, the stage between Brownwood and Comanche was robbed 5 times. So to protect themselves and their property, travelers had to get creative. The county's first banker, for instance, Brooks Smith, devised several ruses to help him transport money between locations, including hiding it in a box of laundry soap and, in one instance, pretending to be a dandy taking his pet cactus back east, delicately planted in a soil-filled cigar box with a false bottom that concealed $8,000 in cash. Smith reasoned that while outlaws might accost the stage, they would likely be too anxious and hurried to pay much attention to an otherwise undistinguished box with a cactus growing in it. Although this frequent banditry, like the Indian raids before them, and the persistence of disease contributed to the precariousness of life on the frontier, the mere existence of such brigandage generated an upright response. For we cannot imagine any Texas town with its 2-story buildings like the few that remain in downtown Brownwood, and not imagine a desperado setting foot in such a town not met by a Texas lawman. Many to wear a badge were ordinary men, for whom law enforcement was a civic duty and not a profession. Men with families who wanted to set things right, perhaps unschooled in the finer points of the law, and probably even less interested in its rules of procedure, lawmen who, if they had to choose, would pick order over law, and for whom the proper application of justice often lay at the end of a rope. And Brown County's severest test of this contest between the way of the outlaw and the way of the lawman came in 1874. Courtesy of the notorious Hardin gang.
Why we gotta ride into Brownwood?
Just to take in the town.
Why can't we take in Comanche?
How many times can you go to Comanche?
Lots more.
John Wesley's a visiting his daddy, and he don't like us being around his Methodist church. Plus, John Wesley's lawyer brother's likely to be there, and me and him don't get along too good.
Don't matter none. We're here now.
Then how about we have us some fun?
The outlaws shot out the windows of storefronts and mirrors out of saloons, and incredibly, no one was reported killed or seriously injured. Perhaps more incredibly still, the gang members were all arrested and thrown in jail, as if they intended it to happen.
You Dixon brothers know better than that. Now, y'all are gonna have to wait in jail till I can get a judge to hear y'all's case in the morning.
We won't be here long, Sheriff Gideon. Not once John Wesley hears about it.
Born in 1853 in Bonham, Hardin was the son of the circuit-riding Methodist preacher James Gibson Gip Hardin. and named for the founder of the Methodist denomination, John Wesley. A descendant and relative of prominent politicians and military men, Hardin tried to join his fortune with theirs when, at 9 years of age, he ran away to enlist in the Confederate Army. According to his own suspect autobiography, Hardin took his first life at the age of 15 during Reconstruction, killing an uncle's former slave. Doubtful that the boy would get a fair trial, his father encouraged him to flee, and for the next 5 years of his life, John Wesley turned fugitive, passing through Navarro, Hill, Leon, and Limestone counties, assuming names Swain, Clements, Little Arkansas, and getting into disputes over card games, whiskey, and women, crossing his arms to draw the 6 guns he wore in his vest. By his own account, Hardin claimed to have killed 42 men, with the one that finally ended his career coming from Brown County.
Sheriff Gideon.
What is it, son?
It's Hardin, and it looks like he's done brought all his men with him.
You Sheriff Gideon?
That's what it says on the badge. Sheriff.
I can see that.
Then why'd you ask?
Just checking. I'm John Wesley Hardin.
I know who you are. Your boys shot up this town.
How much they owe you?
2 big mirrors. 3 or 4 windows.
Think that'll cover it?
Oughta.
Then I reckon we get going.
Reckon so.
All of us. I done told you, Sheriff, we wasn't gonna be here long.
And I ain't never coming back neither. Never wanted to be here in the first place.
Mount up and shut up.
Oh, Hardin. You also ought to know that this here young feller Webb, he's my new deputy sheriff. He's gonna be keeping an eye out for you from now on.
Oh, is he now? We'll have to give him something to keep his eye out for, Sheriff. Deputy, good day.
Brown County Sheriff J.H. Gideon had had about enough of Hardin's antics and of his boys' general lawlessness when a group of 16 ranchers from around Blanket Creek and Williams Ranch complained to him, demanding that he break up or run off the gang, and the man Gideon picked for the job was Charlie Webb. 26-year-old Charlie Webb had been a Texas Ranger before becoming deputy sheriff in Brown County and was working a case of cattle rustlers, arresting 2 of them suspected of ties to the Hardin gang. Things came to a head, however, when it was reported that Hardin and his gang had hanged a man. And Sheriff Gideon dispatched his new deputy to Williams Ranch to investigate.
Here comes that sheriff's deputy from Brownwood. Let me handle it.
Let us know if you need anything.
You'll know. For now, relax.
What do you got up there in that tree?
Pecans.
Well, that's pretty unusual,
Why do you say that?
'cause that there's a live oak. Pecans don't grow on oak trees.
No, I don't suppose they do. But in my trees, on my trees grows whatever fruit I say it grows. Ain't that right, boys?
Then maybe you need to prune your trees.
Why, deputy, I see you don't know no more about trimming trees than you know about the kind of nuts that grow on them.
Hardin, you need to cut this man down. Let me take his body back to town, make my report, inform his family. They'll be wanting to know what happened to him.
Hell no. He had an accident. Ain't that right, boys? Yep. There's lots of accidents happen out here.
And on his own, not paying attention?
It's awful sad for the widows.
Well, all right then.
What do you want me to do, John Wesley?
Nothing.
Nothing. You ain't meaning to let him get away with that, are you?
Time comes, we'll take care of him.
The time came on the occasion of Hardin's 21st birthday, May 26, 1874. He and members of his gang, including the Dixon brothers, Bud and Tom, traveled up to Comanche from Williams Ranch to attend the horse races going on as part of a festival there. Hardin won a lot of money, which, as the day wore on, he was busily consuming in 2 nearby saloons, worrying Comanche Sheriff John Carnes, who was a friend of Hardin's minister father. And that was even before Deputy Sheriff Webb from Brownwood walked in.
Oh, look here, fellas. Why, if it ain't Charlie Webb come to wish me a happy birthday. Come on, deputy.
You get the next round.
I ain't here for no party, Hardin.
What? You got papers to arrest me?
No.
Thought not. Why, you're too much of a coward to try and do that, ain't you, Webb? A lily-livered, yellow-bellied coward.
Seeing his worst fears realized, Sheriff John Carnes immediately intervened to prevent Hardin from being mobbed by festival goers, hell-bent on extracting street justice. Sheriff Carnes let Hardin out a side door of the saloon as the mob caught a hold of the Dixon brothers.
This time you really done it, John.
He told me I needed to prune my trees. Nobody tells me to cut down a limb or anything that might be growing on it or hanging from it. I cut them down when I say they needs cutting down.
You need to get out of here. Once they hear you shot a sheriff's deputy, they ain't gonna stop till they hunt you down. You leave now, you can get a head start on them.
Why are you helping me, Sheriff?
Your daddy, Gip, helped me once a long time ago. I never had a chance to repay my debt till today.
And with interest.
News of the shooting traveled fast. To Brownwood, as fast as a horse and rider could carry it, and in Comanche to a local law office.
Are you Hardin?
Yes?
Joe Hardin?
Yes.
Attorney Joe Hardin?
Yes, what is it?
It's your brother. He's been arrested.
For what?
Murder?
Once news of Webb's murder reached Brownwood, a group of 20 vigilantes gathered near the courthouse. The news spread throughout the county, and by the time the group reached Comanche, it had doubled in size. At the jail, they found Sheriff Carnes and the Dixon brothers already in custody, but John Wesley Hardin was gone.
We're looking for Hardin.
You killed our deputy.
He's not here.
He was.
He's not now.
Sheriff Carnes. I came as soon as I heard what happened. Where's John?
Who are you?
Joe Hardin, attorney at law.
You're a Hardin?
He's a Hardin, son of the Methodist minister here, a member of the local Masonic Lodge, and a lawyer. And a murderer's brother.
I heard he'd been arrested just like you did.
You'll do.
What? No, I'm innocent.
You can't do that. He's had nothing to do with this.
I've had nothing to do with this alleged crime. I know nothing about it and didn't even know John Wesley was in town. I was in my office, you see.
Enough! That's enough. Both of you. Sheriff, we're taking all three of these men. You try and stop us, we'll take you too.
By the time the vigilantes descended on Comanche, John Wesley Hardin was on his way to Florida. Reacting to the murder of a peace officer, the Texas legislature put a $4,000 bounty on his head. He was eventually captured in 1877, 3 years later on a train in Pensacola. When confronted by officers, he got his pistol caught in his suspenders as he tried to draw it. Another outlaw was killed in the melee that followed, and Hardin knocked unconscious, taken into custody and returned to Texas to stand trial. Because of its notoriety and the popularity of the slain deputy, a special detachment of Texas Rangers was assigned to guard the courthouse in Comanche, patiently keeping watch over the crowd of spectators who gathered to hear the closing arguments of counsel on Saturday night and await the jury's verdict.
What's the time, you reckon?
Ask the man whose time on earth's done run out.
That's for the jury to decide, officer. And it's a little after 9 p.m.
They sure been out there for a long time.
Only an hour.
Only?
The longer the better, John Wesley. It means they have their doubts.
I got mine too.
About getting out of here alive?
Now, there won't be any vigilante justice, not with all those rangers outside.
Why, them rangers like to string 'em up theyselves if the jury acquits 'em. You don't go around shooting a sheriff's deputy and expect to get away with it.
Judge's calling court back into session. Mr. Dodds is foreman of the jury. Have y'all reached a verdict yet?
We have, Your Honor. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the second degree and assess his punishment at confinement in the penitentiary and hard labor for 25 years.
Escorted out of the county by Texas Rangers and delivered to the state penitentiary in Huntsville, John Wesley returned to the paths trod by his father and brother. He studied theology and became a superintendent of the prison Sunday school, and he studied law, which enabled him to pass the bar exam upon his release after serving 17 years of his sentence, and was pardoned, evidently eluding justice for a debt that had already been paid. For the lynch mob who took the Dixon brothers out of the Comanche jail and hanged them took Joe Hardin too. They reasoned that as a lawyer, Joe was likely to defend his brother John Wesley, and that in itself was a hanging offense. So sitting astride a bridled mare, a noose around his neck, hands tied behind his back, Joe Hardin swung for his brother.
No, please don't do it. I'm innocent. Please, I'm innocent.
And what of John Wesley? A year and a half after he got out of prison and had been admitted to the bar, the then 45-year-old former gunslinger, older and slower than when he went to jail, got into a dispute in a saloon out in El Paso where he lost his final draw. Bygone Brown is a co-production of the Brown County Historical Commission and Brownwood's Historic Lyric Theater. A beautifully illustrated companion guide to the series is available at Intermission Books and other locations downtown. Proceeds from the sale of the book support the Brown County Museum of History. Recorded at the elegant R.B. Rogers House and Events venue, Bygone Brown was written by Lamar Cravens, narrated by Tommy Bailey, and featured the voice talents of Dominique Glaske, Jonathan Harvey, Levi Packer, Val Nelson, Drex Holt, Jacob Bierman, Alexander Glass, Walker Willie, Graham Allen, Susie Harkey, Tracy Brandon Tucker, Allison Diaz, Aaliyah Curtis, Mackenzie Lair, Ryan Bailey, and Doug, Shannon, and Aaron Turner. To find out more about our thriving community and upcoming events, go to visitbrownwood.com.